Many people think, well, we can just renovate the building and we have property coverage, but I promise you there is an exclusion in that property policy for building under the course of construction or repair. For those that don't know, builder's risk insurance is a property coverage. It's not a liability coverage. It's a property coverage to provide coverage to a newly constructed building or a building that's under significant repair or renovation. So essentially, builder's risk coverage is a property coverage to cover that building from the point you start going vertical till it's completed. And at that time, then the coverage can be moved over to what we call completed property policy, just as if that building was it's built at that time and it needs insurance for the completed building, including business income, etc. So builder's risk is very technical, and the reason being is there are hard costs and there's soft costs, and many times those are and aren't defined in the policy, and many times they are or not provided for correct limits. So what do I mean by that? It gets down to budgeting, right? You got to look at the construction budget. We work with both the GCs and the architects and the civils at times to really identify, what are your hard costs, your true hard costs, and what are your true soft costs. There's some things that can be done to really help premium too. A lot of times there's fees included in the soft cost if the developer does or doesn't want to include those fees. So, we're not going to get super technical with that at this time, but essentially the builder's risk coverage does provide property coverage under the course of construction. Now, new construction, it's always recommended. Now, this is what I would also like to mention. It's extremely important on renovations, right? Many people think, well, we can just renovate the building and we have property coverage, but I promise you there is an exclusion in that property policy for building under the course of construction or repair. On larger policies or larger programs, we can get, maybe $1 million or a couple $1 million sublimit built in, just for the schedule. I don't actually prefer to do that unless it's a smaller job. I always recommend getting either a standalone or a standalone endorsement for that project, because we never want to risk there not being coverage. So on a completed property form, if you have a building that you are renovating, we always recommend standalone builder's risk, or depending on the portfolio, a larger builder's risk schedule. It could even be reporting at times. We could get into the more specifics later, but if it is a building that you're renovating or repairing, you absolutely have to look at that property policy, because there's going to be an exclusion. So we always typically recommend, depending on the extent of the construction, and we can work with the GC, the development team, and again, the architects and engineers to really understand the full scope. And at that point, we can put a package together to the insurance carriers to make sure that you have proper coverage for that building. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us, SpartanRiskManagement.com. First step is to book a consult, and we'll see how we can help you out.